Welcome to the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast page. My name is Norris, and I created this show for you. I want this show to serve as a source of advice and guidance as you navigate the military transition path. I want you to know that you're not alone with what you're going through, and I want you to know that there is only one right way to transition out of the military, and that is the way that you choose to do it. We're just here to help smooth the path ahead of you and advise you about any bumps in the road that you might come across. So if you enjoy this video, please give us a like, subscribe to our page, and I encourage you to go to your favorite podcast provider and listen to the full episode of this show. You can also visit our website at www.ll4forvets.com. I promise you will get some great information. Well, if you haven't yet heard Jason's whole episode on the podcast episode, definitely head over there and listen to that because he goes through how to navigate the federal employment process. He talks about the disability process. He has some book recommendations for you, so he has a lot of really good info. And in the podcast episode, he talks a little bit about some of the resources that he used. And I want to ask you, Jason, what are some of those free support resources, veteran service organizations that you used? First of all, let's start with that. What did you use? How did you use them?
So the VSO that I used originally was Hire Heroes USA. They were the first ones I reached out to really help build my resume and the interview process, the interview training process, and just an opportunity to bounce ideas off of. And that was Dave Martinez out of the Colorado office. I think I communicated with him on a regular basis, building out my private industry resume. And Hire Heroes USA does use a very formatted resume, but using the advice from yourself, Lori, taking that and formatting it to meet the job announcements or the positions, right? And crafting that to meet what I needed it for. But just having that basic resume format and just having someone to review it was beneficial. Other ones I used was USO Transitions. I had some great mentors through USO Transition, and they were able to not only guide me through some of the resume and interview processes, but they were also a sounding board through the transition, whether it was personal or related to work. So I highly recommend going through USO Transitions. You'll end up with a great person to help you through your transition period. And then ACP, American Corporate Partnership. I had a mentor through ACP, and Amber Pargman was awesome. She supported me for a full year, and I was able to really talk to her on a monthly basis to really get an understanding about the transition and what to expect in different engineering fields, and just overall have great conversations with her. So those are the three that I would highly recommend getting started with. And there are plenty more out there, right? Because you have Vets to Industry website that what they vet and they list all of the most beneficial VSOs. So I recommend going through their website as well.
Yeah. And Vets to Industry also is how you met a lot of people and started building your network and learned to network, really. So Vets to Industry, not only do they list those VSOs that they have investigated and vetted and verified, validated and verified, now known as valified, by the way. I made my own word, and I'm very talented that way. And so they have that listing, and then they also hold, I think, once every 4 to 6 weeks, a networking event. So definitely take advantage of that, where you can meet recruiters, you can meet representatives of those VSOs, education institutes, and really start to build up that network. So, and I think that you actually had a conversation with Kelsey Wolf-Wallace, who with her husband Nathan was on episode 29, and the two of you have been kind of talking about an initiative that you want to start. You want to tell me really quick about that?
Yeah, so sure. During our podcast, one thing that initiated some internal discussions was her husband. She said her husband was overlooked, or maybe left behind through the transition process because he encountered a quick transition, right? And so that led me to think, well, how many other veterans or service members are being left behind during that transition process? And in September of 2021, I did a quick preparation to separate presentation for some airmen here at Vandenberg. And then I received another request to do another presentation. Well, it was interesting because that morning before the presentation, Kelsey was able to sit down with me and go over some of the things that Hire Heroes USA has to offer for separating members. And I was able to incorporate that into my Prepare to Separate presentation in the afternoon.
I think that, the bottom line is like, once you are out and you're successful and in a great job, like Jason is like, don't forget to reach that hand back and help those that are following behind you. And I think, what we're doing here is helpful, whether it's mentoring one person or leading a class for, 10 or 15, do whatever you can to share your knowledge and information with the people that are following behind you. And I appreciate you doing that with us today, Jason.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for watching the video today. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Did you leave us a comment? Have you listened to the full episode of the podcast on your favorite podcast provider? We sure would appreciate it if you would do all of these things to support us today.